Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, my name is Hina Shaukat and I am your class 9th chemistry teacher. और टॉपिक जो आज हम पढ़ने वाले हैं वो है elements from the topic basic definitions from chapter number 1 fundamentals of chemistry. So students, let's have a quick recap of our previous lesson. We have started our topic 1.2 basic definitions, and in basic definitions we have discussed so far definition of matter, physical states of matter, what are physical properties, what are chemical properties, what is physical change, what is chemical change, and then we started classifying matter. अगर हम matter को classify करें तो हमने देखा कि हम उसको classify कर सकते हैं two major groups में, substances or mixtures. And if we look into substance, so substance could be of two types, element or compound. In this lesson, we are going to discuss in detail element. So let's start. If we talk about brief history of elements, so in early ages, there were only 9 elements that were known. Carbon, gold, silver, tin, mercury, lead, copper, iron, and sulfur. At that time, substances cannot be broken down by chemical processes. Means people of that time वो ये सोचते थे कि substances को हम chemical ways से भी मज़ीद simple substances में break down नहीं कर सकते. Means उनका ये मानना था कि substances या फिर pure चीज़ें कभी भी अपने components में divide नहीं होती. आगे जाके हम देखेंगे कि क्या उनका मानना ठीक था. Until the end of 19th century, only 63 elements had been discovered. And now we have 118 elements that have been discovered so far. And out of those 118 elements, there are 92 naturally occurring elements. You have to memorize this number, 92 naturally occurring elements. This is very important. Now, as we know, what is the brief history of elements and how many elements we have around us, let's have a look what is actually an element. And to understand it in a better way, let's go to visual room. So students, to understand what is an element, let's discuss one example. Have you ever tried making sugar into caramel? I hope all of you know what sugar is. Let me tell you the chemical formula for sugar. It's C12H22O11. This is the chemical formula of sugar and the chemical name is sucrose. So my question was, have you ever tried making sugar into caramel? उसके लिए आपको करना क्या होता है? You will take sugar and you will pour your sugar into a pot and then you're going to place that pot over heat. तो जब हम sugar को heat करते हैं काफ़ी देर के लिए, so what happens? That sugar turns into black and bitter mass. Yes, black and bitter. Bitter मतलब थोड़ा कड़वा होता है taste में. So what actually happened to our sugar? Our sugar was crystalline, white colored substance. But upon heating, what happened? You will get black colored carbon. So this is because sugar has broken down into carbon and water vapors. The carbon is the black solid that you will get upon heating. You know that heating can cause a chemical change in the sugar. And upon that chemical change, you will get new substances. So you will say that, okay, we have seen carbon, the black mass in our pot, but where is the water vapor? So water vapors basically, they will evaporate and they will go into the air. So if sugar can be broken down into carbon and water vapors, so we will say that sugar is not an element. So we can say that elements cannot be broken down into simpler substances by chemical processes. Since sugar can be broken down, so it means that it is not an element. So what about water vapor? Water vapor is not an element either. Water vapor can be broken down into hydrogen and oxygen. As you all know that water is made up of 2 particles of hydrogen and 1 particle of oxygen. When 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen, they chemically combine together, you will get water. So when water is decomposed, means it will turn into its components. So you will get hydrogen and oxygen separated. So do you think water is an element? No, because elements cannot be broken down into simpler substances. So let's have a look to this flow chart. Sugar sugar can be broken down. So sugar is not an element, right? But upon this breakdown, you will get carbon and water vapors. Carbon cannot be broken down into simpler substances. So carbon would be an element, and water vapor, it is not an element either. But we can break down water vapors into hydrogen and oxygen. Can you break down hydrogen? No, hydrogen is so small you cannot break down. So hydrogen would be an element, and same oxygen would be an element. So you can say elements consist of same kind of atoms. If I'll say that I have hydrogen gas in this jar, so it means it would be having all the atoms of hydrogen, which are of the same composition. Let's have a look at the modern definition of elements. So modern definition of element is that it is a substance made up of same type of atoms having same atomic number and cannot be decomposed into simple substances by ordinary chemical means. So this definition is having three parts. One is, in an element, same type of atoms are present. Means all the atoms, they should be same. Same means same in size and all their properties should be same. Same atomic number. Atomic number is a property of atoms, and for different atoms, atomic number is different. Atomic number is a unique number which is given to the atoms. So same atomic number is the confirmation that all the atoms of that substance are same. Cannot be decomposed. Decomposed means breaking down into simpler substances. For example, decomposition of water is going to give you hydrogen and oxygen. So what is an element? Made up of same type of atom, same atomic number, cannot be decomposed into simple substances by chemical reactions. So unique type of atoms, and of course, if one thing is having unique type of atom, it would be having some specific properties which would be different from the other atoms. Now, if we talk about the existence of elements, के elements किन किन हालतों में पाए जाते हैं? So elements can occur in free state or combined state. हर चीज अकेले stable नहीं होती, तो sometimes एलिमेंट्स को स्टेबिलिटी अटेन करने के लिए, उनके एटम्स को स्टेबल होने के लिए दूसरी चीज़ों के साथ कंबाइन होना पड़ता है. उसको हम कहते हैं कंबाइन स्टेट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर हम बात करें कार्बन की, तो कार्बन अकेला भी मौजूद है और कार्बन कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड में भी मौजूद है. सो इन कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड इट इज प्रेजेंट इन कंबाइंड फॉर्म. Since we know that there are 92 naturally occurring elements, 92 naturally occurring elements, which is a big number, and we say that naturally occurring means they are present in our nature. Nature means it should be present in our environment as well. So our environment is having three major systems: earth crust, oceans, and atmosphere. And these 92 naturally occurring elements, they are present somewhere in these three systems. We don't have any other system. So let's have a look into the natural occurrence by weight percent of some major elements. All of these elements, they are not present in the same amount. They are not present in equal amount. Weight percent means if you say that the weight of Earth's crust, suppose it is 100 grams, suppose, I know it's very small, but just suppose it. If it is 100 gram, so I say oxygen is 47%. It means that out of those 100 grams, we have oxygen 47 grams. This is weight percent. So in Earth's crust, most amount of element is oxygen, which is 47%. If we talk about oceans, so the major element of ocean is oxygen, which is 86%. But if we talk about atmosphere, you know that atmosphere means, which is the gases and everything, and it is made up of mostly gases. So nitrogen is present 78%. Yes, it is not oxygen. Maybe you were thinking of oxygen, but no, in atmosphere it is nitrogen, which is 78%. Other major elements in Earth's crust are silicon 28% and aluminium 7.8%. And in oceans, a part of oxygen, we have hydrogen, which is 11%, and chlorine, which is 1.8%. In atmosphere, After the nitrogen, we have oxygen, 21%, and argon, 0.9%. Let's share one interesting information with you. If I said that natural occurrence of element is in our atmosphere, is in our Earth's crust, is in our oceans, means these are the system of our environment. So what about us? We are also the part of nature. So these elements should be present in us as well, right? So yes, in our living body, the major part is water, which is 65 to 80% by mass. But remember, water is not an element because water can be broken down into simple substances. But a part of this water, we have some elements in our body as well. But out of 92 naturally occurring elements, we have 6 elements, 6 major elements, which constitute about 99% of the mass, remaining mass. So these 6 elements are oxygen, which is 65%, carbon, which is 18%, hydrogen, 10%, nitrogen, 3%, calcium, 1.5%, phosphorus, 1.5%. Now, these are the 6 major things which are contributing, 6 major elements which are contributing 99% of the rest of the body mass. But there are other elements as well which are present in very minute amount. For example, potassium, sulfur, magnesium and sodium constitute 0.8% of our body mass. And copper, zinc, fluorine, chlorine, iron, cobalt, manganese, they constitute only 0.2% of our body mass, but they are present in our body. So since now we know the occurrence of elements, कि हमें कौन-कौन से elements कहाँ-कहाँ मिलते हैं और सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सा एलिमेंट हमारे एटमॉस्फेयर में पाया जाता है, सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सा एलिमेंट ओशन में और अर्थ क्रस्ट में पाया जाता है और सबसे ज़्यादा कौन सा एलिमेंट हमारी बॉडी में पाया जाता है. Let's move on to the classification of elements. Of course, 118 elements and 92 naturally occurring elements को इकट्ठे पढ़ना is little bit difficult, and to learn their properties individually, it's a huge task. So, what scientists have done, they have categorized them into different classes. So, they have classified the elements. We have classified elements in several ways. Previously, they were classified according to the states of matter. States of matter means the physical state of matter. Remember, we have discussed physical state of matter. So, the matter can exist in 3 physical states: solid, liquid, and gas. But when we say the physical state of matter, so we mean the physical state at room temperature. Remember the term physical change. Matter can change from one state to another state. Matter can change from solid to liquid at different temperatures. So when we will be discussing the physical state of matter, it means at room temperature. So majority of the elements, they are present in solid state. For example, sodium, copper, iron, zinc, silver, gold, aluminium, magnesium, all of these elements, they are present in solid state. But there are some elements which are present in liquid state. For example, mercury and bromine. You know what is the property of liquid state? That liquids can flow. Liquids can flow. So mercury is a liquid element. You have seen mercury in thermometers. Yes, thermometers, you can see that silvery liquid which will move up and down. That is basically mercury. So mercury is an example of liquid state of an element. And the third state of matter is gas state. As the name indicates, all of the elements that are present in gas form, they would be classified under this heading. Oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, neon, helium, chlorine. These are some common gases. Now, these were the classification of elements on the basis of their physical states of matter. But since elements can change their physical state at different temperatures, and we have different temperatures on the different parts of the earth, so scientists have classified elements on the basis of their properties as well. These classes are metals, non-metals and metalloids. इन तीनों में डिफरेंस क्या है और इन तीनों की एग्जाम्पल्स क्या है, ये हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं अपने अगले लेक्चर में डिटेल के साथ. सो स्टूडेंट्स, आज के लेक्चर में हमने स्टार्ट किया अपना टॉपिक एलिमेंट्स और उसमें हमने देखा ब्रीफ हिस्ट्री ऑफ एलिमेंट, मॉडर्न डेफिनेशन ऑफ एलिमेंट्स, और हमने ट्राई किया उसके सारे कंपोनेंट्स को डिटेल में समझने की. देन अकरेंस ऑफ एन एलिमेंट इन आवर environment, and finally the classification of an element. We are done with classification of element according to the physical states of matter, and we have just named the classification according to their properties. We are going to discuss metals, non-metals and metalloids, their properties and their examples in detail in our next lecture. तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज.